What's going on, everyone? Justin again. As always, thanks for watching my channel. Welcome back. I think I have an addiction problem when it comes to ratchets, don't you think? I mean, ranging from pretty much any size, any drive, to any length. I have a plethora of different ratchets. Most, I would say, I use on a day-to-day basis in the automotive field at my shop. Other ones I have at stay at home that I use here for around the house should I ever need one, because let's face it, when you're a mechanic, you almost kind of need two sets of tools, am I right? Nobody likes throwing a whole bunch of tools in their bag at the end of the day and then racing off home, especially if they have any kind of a project going on. We're going to get into a couple of my favorites, but mostly I'm just going to kind of show and tell all the different styles of ratchets that are out there, and then we're going to dive into some Tekton. That's right, I said it, Tekton, aka Tecton tools, because our buddy Chris from Client Graphics went ahead and sent us out a 1/4-inch socket set complete with ratchets and extensions that we're going to take a closer look at, as well as the Tekton flex head. It has little tiny detents, so as you flex it, it somewhat locks it in place. So we're going to kind of go over that. We cannot give a full review or opinion about the Tekton stuff because we got to put it into the work, am I right? So we'll do that a little bit later on. All right, let's kick it off with my favorite, shall we? Got the snap-on 1/2-inch locking flex head, and it comes in at about 25 inches in a 1/2-inch drive. I love this thing, especially when it comes to using like bigger sockets like 18, 19, maybe you're using it on a 32 depending on if you're working on diesels all the time. But just overall, it's been a phenomenal ratchet in general. I've used this to help crack loose and get the right angle that I needed for like the Honda crankshaft special tool, and this thing has definitely come in handy. Only two issues that I ever had with this thing was the locking tab. Now on this locking tab in particular, I'm going to show you, but on the smaller ratchets, 1/4-inch and 3/8 drive that Snap-on sells, I find myself that when I want to actually use the flexible portion on those smaller sized ratchets, that if I accidentally bump the selector switch, I'm stuck in a position that I don't want to be in. I haven't really had that issue here with the 1/2-inch 2-foot long breaker bar style ratchet, but what I have run into is a little tiny Torx bit on the inside works its way out, and luckily I haven't lost it. I put some red Loctite on there and then I toss it back in. It's only ever come off probably about 3 times in probably, I don't know, about 4 years, 5 years of having it. The other thing is I have a Torx bit up here that passes through, which is what makes this a flex head, and that has worked itself out a couple times, and I've done the same exact thing. I've just thrown some red Loctite in there and then lock it up. So that's definitely one of my more favorite 1/2-inch style ratchets. The second one is definitely the Comfort Grip Snap-on fixed head design ratchet. This works great when I'm trying to turn the crank over to position the torque converter bolts or nuts into position so I can get those loose. It has just enough length for me to be able to get to where I need to, where I can pass that front frame and then still do what I need to do. And it holds up great. I've been using it for a while for that specifically. For breaking off brake caliper mounting bracket bolts and such, believe it or not, I actually jump over here to the Snap-on 3/8 drive flex head. The flex head's gotten extremely loose over time. I have tried to tighten up the Torx bit that passes through it, and I have had to run red Loctite through that too. But you guys know me and my electrical tape. I just throw some electrical tape around it to stiffen it up. Jumping on over here to the Gearwrench 84 tooth ratchet, and I used to have one a long time back. If I had to take a guess, I'd say probably about 5 years or so back. And I loved having it in general, but I think we did a giveaway a while back on it. Now I have one that came in the master kit that we have that I'm planning on taking to work and starting to utilize probably come Monday. I really kind of needed the weekend to kind of get some stuff moved around and figure out just exactly how I'm going to incorporate the set, because I already have stuff organized. So we're going to end up doing that. I'm not going to have the video prepared for you guys for a little while though. You got to give me some time, okay? I know that you guys want to know what I think about them right away. You got to give me time to use them. Working our way over here to the Carlisle 1/2-inch Comfort Grip. We picked this up, I want to say, probably about 1.5 years, almost 2 years back. The Comfort Grip is quite similar in design to like the Snap-on. It's a bit thicker, so if you have bigger hands, you might find that to be pretty comfortable. I actually like this one a little bit better than the Snap-on because the Snap-on has this little indentation here that I could either take or leave. It feels almost flat on the bottom side, more round on the top, whereas with the Carlisle, it's pretty consistent all the way around. So I actually like that, but I do keep this at home because there are certain things that I need a 1/2-inch ratchet for, and for the longest time, this was my go-to for here at the house. Anything that I needed great leverage for, I would bring home one of the bigger dogs to the house. A very versatile ratchet that I actually have and use all the time has got to be this 3/8 drive flex head with the square handle grip from Snap-on. I love having this thing, man. It does get into some weird spots, tighter spots where length is too long. I need it to be short, but I need it to be a little bit stronger than 1/4 inch. This thing has done it. Especially my guys that know about them oil filters, right? The ones that are over tightened. This thing definitely comes in handy when you're using the 3-jaw claw. So I really love having that. Like I said, I use it every single day. Again, briefly covering 84 tooth, 3/8 drive fixed head ratchet that came with the kit. Not sure how much use I'm going to get out of those two ratchets specifically because I do prefer the ones that I'm showcasing. But we're going to try to put them to the test and get some use. All right, the other one is this Icon flex head ratchet, which you all know. You've seen it before. You've heard about the recall on it. I still have not handed mine in. It still works. I've got no problem with it. I don't see the point in warrantying out something that works, even though there's a recall on it. But it has come in handy. I have enjoyed having it. It is the bare-handled ratchet, which I often do like because you can just simply wipe grease, oil off. You can hit it with brake clean without ruining or damaging any kind of comfort grip style handle. This thing's been great. I've had no issue outside of the Torx bit working itself out, which again, I put red Loctite on and I sunk it back into place. Look, you're gonna have this issue with ratchets, any kind of flex head for the most part. We'll keep going. I got the Snap-on weird design ratchet, and believe it or not, this does come in handy for some of those awkward spots that you need to get into. Notice the curvature here. So if I'm working around an exhaust pipe and I need to get to a fastener that's pretty troublesome, this is great because I can still get the leverage that I need. And you know, I've seen a lot of guys that complain about like, oh, I slip and bust my knuckles. If I'm getting to a weird place like this and I have enough pressure and it rests against the exhaust, it's not going anywhere, okay? This thing has definitely been a tried and true ratchet. I really do enjoy it. It almost has like a speed ratchet kind of feature to it, which is another reason why I really like it. So when I saw this Power Torque one over at O'Reilly's in the same exact manner and design as the Snap-on for $7, I had to pick this up, right? So it's got a little detent ball here for locking in the socket itself. It also has a detent style flex head portion to it. It has a heavy knurled top, so if you wanted to run something out by hand, say it was, you know what I'm talking about. So say that fasteners and they're just too tight for you to work out by finger, but too loose for you to use an actual ratchet for it. Well, that's why I like the little knurled part here that I can actually turn, and for $7, that's one hell of a ratchet. I keep this one here at the house because I don't do very much automotive stuff here, and it is a cheaper ratchet. If it breaks, you know, I don't have to worry about replacing it. I don't know if they're going to be making any more of those, to be honest, because it was on the clearance shelf because I think they were getting ready to bring in a new line of product. Okay, going to a more recent favorite, and one that's been a tried and true favorite of mine over the years. Those of you that have been following me for the last 6 years know that the #1 ratchet that I praised, and even to this day, was the Macko Comfort Grip. It's got this hourglass-like design to the actual handle itself. It's extremely comfortable. It's not too thick. I mean, overall, it's a phenomenal ratchet. The length is perfect for most fasteners that are stubborn that you want to crack loose in a 3/8 drive until you get to the point when you need to step it up to a 1/2 inch. When you want it to lock, it locks, okay? It just stays there. I haven't had a problem with this locking mechanism on the 3/8 drive. Now with the 1/4 inch drive, and I do have one of those, but it's at work, I accidentally forgot it. With the 1/4 inch drive Macko ratchet, this locking mechanism doesn't stay put. It just flops around it. It's kind of annoying. Now, I would say on average, I have to re-gear this ratchet at least once a year, because once a year I'm finding myself where it does slip teeth. Autobahn Dan made the joke when I first bought the 40th anniversary series ratchet that thing's just waiting to slip tooth, and he can almost hear the tooth slip right now. That's hilarious. But no, really, I haven't really had any troubles with this thing outside of the 1/4 inch one with the locking tab. It just keeps holding on up, and I got a Matco truck, so re-gearing it once a year, not a problem for me. Let's go down to some 1/4 inch stuff here. So we have a miniature 1/4 inch 84 tooth ratchet that we just got with the Gearwrench kit. We'll use that. You can see I got the Icon. This is a 90 tooth 1/4 inch ratchet that's a fixed head design. I've been using the hell out of this. You can tell by the, yep, that's masking tape. So I needed a little bit of a grip, okay? I was in a really tight spot and I kept slipping. So I needed a little bit of a grip, but I didn't need a full-on comfort grip. So what I did was I took just some yellow or white masking tape, wrapped it around the handle and went to town, and it had just enough grip. I like it, man. You guys that haven't tried to alter your tools or use tape or do anything different with it, try to give that a shot. If you want a comfort grip but don't want to ruin the handle or have to go through all the trouble of worrying about what chemicals you're using to clean it off, throw some tape on your bare-handled ratchet. Use that like that for a little while. And look, if you're tired of it, cut it off, spray it down, wipe it clean. All right, the other one is the Icon 90 tooth flex head ratchet. I do like this ratchet. It does come in handy. It offers a different length than some of the other ratchets that I have here. And sometimes you need just a little bit more length. Sometimes you need a lot less length. Now we're getting ready to go into the less length. So here's a 3/8 drive snap-on ratchet that I picked up when I was started community college. Man, I needed this thing. This thing came in handy so many different times. To have that 3/8 drive and a 1/4 inch style ratchet was phenomenal. And at that time, some 10 years ago, this was the smallest ratchet ever made. Until I met my boss at the independent shop and he showed me that they made one smaller in a 1/4 inch form. Because sometimes all you can do is stick your hand behind something to work it back and forth. And that's where this little 1/4 inch snap-on ratchet is a true gem. I love having this little guy. This guy has saved my bacon numerous times. Jumping on over here to the Comfort Grip pivot style ratchet. You guys know that I've had one tried and true, used it in and day out, and I had it slip a few times. I think once every couple years. I think the last time it only lasted a year. Well, at any rate, and our buddy Will went ahead and got that taken care of for us, shipped it back, and then we got our snap-on guy. So when I went to go ahead and get it repaired, he went ahead and took care of the whole dang thing. But not before selling me on the 3/8 drive 1/4 inch style ratchet in the same exact format and feature as the 1/4 inch, right? But you know what? I love the smaller ratchets. I truly do. They just come in so many different varieties. You almost just want to buy them all. Now here's the Icon pivot style ratchet, much similar to that of the snap-on one. Again, the comfort grip's nice. It doesn't have this flat end here. It's perfectly round all the way around. And overall, it's a very comfortable ratchet. I have kind of scraped it up a little bit from getting too close to some of the walls, but you know what I like about this is it has just enough thickness to hit this with a screwdriver to get it to go the other direction. So should you have to retighten something back up to slip your socket and ratchet out, you can. Now something with the snap-on one where it's a little bit more recessed, I've gotten into some situations where it took me a minute to get it back. All right, I also picked up this flex head Icon in the comfort grip because I really wanted just to see how overall I felt about it. I did use it for a period of time. You can see that the other one offers a little bit more length than the non-comfort grip, but you know what? I still liked it. It was still tried and true. I brought it back home so I can use it for my toolkit here at the house. I have this little Macko fixed head 1/4 inch ratchet. This thing has been a nice little gem too. I'm still able to get into some hard to reach spots. You can see it doesn't really pass my palm all that much. It's a little bit more leverage than the little guy. I told you guys, this little guy is a gem, but sometimes it's on there so tight you can't even force it, so you need a little bit more handle, and you'd like to have a comfort grip so it doesn't cut in your hand, and that's where this little Matco fixed head one came in. Comes in at a little bit shorter than the Icon, than the snap-on, than some of the other fixed heads that we have here, and it's got a comfort grip. So that's another good reason why I bought that. Like I said, the comfort grip, sometimes you're gonna want that comfort grip. Heading on back over to snap-on. So you guys know I have this long reach snap-on 1/4 inch ratchet. If you don't know the story behind that, I can barely recall, but I know that I had flipped a coin in the air for a 50-50 shot at winning this ratchet with my snap-on rep. Basically, he said, if it lands on heads, I'll give it to you for free. If it lands on tails, you owe me 2 times the amount. And I was like, okay, great. Went ahead and flipped that coin. It landed on heads. I got it for free. Loved it. Well, it broke down. Couldn't get the gears changed out. Had a couple people offering me to have it sent back east so they can get it taken care of. I just kind of ignored it. I went ahead and jumped over to the Macko truck, Picked up the same exact style of 1/4 inch long reach ratchet, never looked back. But this is a locking flex head style, so there's a little difference there, right? You got one that's non-locking, one that's locking, and that locking capability does come in handy from time to time. Just a little example. All right, so that was my collection of ratchets thus so far. Now we're adding the new Tecton pivoting style flex head ratchet that Chris hooked us up with, as well as this Tekton 1/4 inch toolkit. Let's take a look at this real quick. All right, Tekton 1/4 inch socket set, complete with ratchet, universal joint, looks like a 2 to 3 inch extension and a 6 inch 1/4 extension, a nut driver, a bit adapter in order to put little tiny bits in it. They cover you from 5/32 all the way up to 9/16 in deep and shallow, no skips. For the 1/4 inch stuff, we go 4, 4.5, 5, 5.5, all the way up to 14 millimeter in the deep and shallow. One of the features that I really wanted to know, because this thing is a gem. Those of you that don't already have something similar to this, you're gonna wanna pick one up. Even if you weren't to buy this kit and you just wanted to look for this in general, the only other driver that I know of that has this incorporated in the end of it is Carlisle. I have a Carlisle one here at the house. I've got a Snap-on one at work that we haven't been able to seem to find on the Snap-on truck, and now Tecton has done it. This is by far one of my favorite features of the driver itself. Now, I'm not huge into using this for, let's say, a socket driver, but I am huge into using it as an extension of my leverage. So if I'm trying to take off a certain fastener, I can do so by hand, and I still have a little bit more leverage with the ratchet itself, okay? Before I met the cordless stuff, before I had money for the air tools, we did a lot of things by hand. And when I did things by hand, like a transmission service of that nature, and I had to take off all those 10 or 13 millimeter fasteners underneath, you wanted something like this so you can crack it loose and then sit there and run them out. A little bit more expedient, okay? Some people would use a speed wrench instead. I never fell in love with the speed wrench. I did fall in love with this driver though, because it was an extension and I was able to use it as a driver by doing it like so. Never used it any other way, to be honest. The bit driving portion, I could see that. I mean, if you wanted a ratcheting screwdriver, but you didn't want to buy a ratcheting screwdriver and you had something like this, now you could put your little bits on the end and you have a ratcheting screwdriver. Okay, so see, like a little feature there. If you just wanted it for the driver itself, of course you can do this and twist and twist and twist. Personally, I like to try to get away from as much twisting as I possibly can, but sometimes you can't help it, in which case this is my go-to right here, right? So Chris, thank you very much for the Tekton 1/4 inch socket set. I look forward to using it in the real world and then letting you know what my thoughts and opinions are about it overall. Guys, if you haven't seen Chris from Client Graphics channel, make sure to check the link down below in the description. Head on over, like, share, subscribe if you liked today's video. See you guys next time. Cheers and deuces.